Calgary Mayor Jyoti Gondek. Gondek has been in the role since October 2022, and it hasn't been an easy ride so far. Gondek has led Calgary during the ongoing housing and cost of living crises. But now a local business owner created the Recall Mayor Gondek campaign. He says he launched it after disappointment in the city's policies. Now, some have said this initiative won't succeed, but the campaign says they're still motivated. Over 514,000 valid signatures must be collected for the petition to be successful. We asked Mayor Gondek about it. Mayor Jyoti Gondek joins me now from Calgary. Mayor Gondek, thanks for making the time.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Listen, I want to talk to you about your time in the mayor's office so far. How would you assess it?
I think it's been interesting. I think politics is in a place that we haven't seen it before. I think we've had a lot of really amazing decisions made by council that are in the interest of Calgarians, and I think we've also seen a lot of polarization in society that also casts its shadow over council at times as well. So it's been very interesting times.
Talk to me a little bit more about that and how you think that polarization is playing out at City Hall.
I mean, the biggest example I can give you right now is there's an active recall petition to try to remove me from the mayor's seat. In order to launch the recall, you don't actually need any ethical or legal grounds. It can just be, you don't want this person to be in that position. And so you've got, a subset of the population that is very vocal and very active on social media. And then at community events, it's a completely different story where people are super engaged. They want to have meaningful conversations. They're interested in what we can do to make the city better. So you're seeing this, a lot of rhetoric playing out, and you're seeing people not wanting to engage in civil discourse. And when you're in person with them, it's a different story. So it's sort of a tale of two societies, I would say.
A tale of two societies. Is it your responsibility as mayor to unite?
It would be lovely to unite people, and it's something that I definitely put my best efforts into. However, there is such an entrenched divide in some cases that you just can't bring the two sides together. I've done my best to provide civil discourse not only in council chambers, but in the meetings that I have with members of community. I've tried to bring disparate sides together, and when people are willing to engage in dialogue, we have some pretty meaningful outcomes and good relationships are built. But if people aren't willing to talk to each other in a meaningful way, that makes it really tough.
You were very optimistic when you first got elected. Has some of that optimism faded?
The optimism hasn't faded. This city is incredible, and I know that there are so many opportunities for our city to future-proof itself and to become incredibly resilient so that we're not facing economic up and downs like we have in the past. I think the people that live in Calgary are such caring and compassionate individuals. My optimism has not waned in that regard at all.
Well, what would you, if you had to give yourself a report card, and obviously, you're a little bit biased here, where would you say there's room for improvement?
I would say that this is a question we should be asking all elected officials, and unfortunately, we only ask people when they're under a pretty intense spotlight. So, where is there room for improvement? I would say for every politician everywhere, creating dialogue and creating opportunities for civil discourse. And it's incredibly difficult to do right now. Anytime that I've had missteps in council, I have been open to talking about them. So, I find it very hard to give myself a report card, but I would say the one thing I am absolutely committed to is doing my best work for the city. And that's reflected in some of the major decisions that have come forward. We have invested heavily into housing. We've invested into public safety and transit. And those are three things that Calgarians have said they really need to see get better in our city.
And I want to talk to you about transit in just a moment. But, on kind of the larger issue here, 43% of Calgarians said in a recent poll they strongly disapprove you as mayor. Do you think it's possible at this point to mend those relationships? And I guess the question really is, how do you do that moving forward with almost half the city saying this?
Well, polls are a reflection of a moment in time, first and foremost. And secondly, it's really important to understand what it is that people are disappointed in, what it is that they want to see done differently. And sometimes the polls don't reflect that. They're very basic questions. And so my job has been and continues to be to engage with the public at every opportunity. Public hearings happen to be one type of opportunity where we hear from people within chambers, but more importantly, it's significant to be able to get to all the community events that you're invited to be able to go to open houses, and to take meetings with a broad group of people who want to bring significant concerns to you. So I'm happy to engage with folks that are willing to come forward and talk about what's on their mind.
So, and you are going to be meeting later this month, I understand, with Landon Johnston, who started this petition. What are you going to say to him? I
don't know what he wishes to speak about. So he requested a meeting with me after he launched the recall petition. I had a very quick interaction with him outside City Hall, where, or outside Chambers actually, where I asked him why he hadn't ever reached out to me if he had concerns about the way I was governing. So he reached out the next day and asked for a meeting, and he's got one now. I'm not sure what date it's on, but I look forward to the questions or comments that he brings forward, and I look forward to engaging in a discussion with him. Some
of this criticism has crossed the line into very personal attacks, even protests outside your home. I mean, has this job come with more vitriol than you were expecting, and how have you been dealing with those personal attacks? Well, for anyone that doesn't know, a local business person has posted online that climate activists have gotten into my underwear. We've had other people talk about the fact that the only reason I got elected is because I'm brown and this whole city is run by brown people. I've had, other people, comment on why immigrants are allowed into this country at all. Most recently I have, hey Gondek, the recall may not work, but we have other ways to get you out. So, you tell me if that's something that I should have to engage in. Because apparently on Twitter, an elected official isn't allowed to block anybody, so people are free to say anything they want to. We saw the mayor of Gatineau recently just very abruptly step down. I mean, when you are facing this kind of very personal vitriol, has that ever crossed your mind? Not just for you personally, but also your family. So it's not easy for my mom to hear these things. It's not easy for my husband and my kiddo to hear this stuff. It's really hard on my friends. If we're out in public and somebody says something incredibly rotten, is the only word I can think of, everybody that I'm with is exposed to all of this. So does it cross my mind that these people are stepping over a line? All the time I think about that. But are they going to get me to not do my job? Absolutely not. This is a scare tactic, and it's not one that's going to work on me. Are you worried, though, I guess, about your safety? I have been very public about this, too. Elected officials are never supposed to talk about fear. We're never supposed to say we're afraid of anything. But I ask you, if you have people coming up to you in a restaurant or on the street, threatening you in your face, are you not going to be afraid? If people come and protest outside of your home, if someone does wheelies in front of your home at 3 o'clock in the morning and leaves a sticker on your door, are you not going to be afraid? You are. But we're not supposed to say that, so I'll say it here. It is a scare tactic, and yes, it does make me fearful, but I will not stop doing my job. But do you think that this could reach a breaking point at some point where you say, you know what, this is enough? I'm not going to reach that breaking point. A final question, real quick here. With everything that we have talked about, do you worry about young people that are looking potentially at politics as a career, and what they are thinking about in terms of how this is going to affect their lives personally if they do this? It's a very timely question. We just had a She Governs event last Friday that's put on by Equal Voice, and we had a group of really bright girls come in, high school girls, and we talked to them about the realities of the role, and we talked about what are they passionate about? And we reassured them that we would work very hard right now as this generation that is in elected office to make things better, safer, and more equitable for them. And that's something I'm absolutely committed to doing. I don't want future leaders to be discouraged from the things that they're seeing here. It is up to me and people like me to make politics better for them. And that's something I'm 100% committed to. Mayor Gondek, appreciate you coming on, taking some of the questions here on Canada Tonight. We'll see you again. Thank you. Thanks.